Tell me when we're wrapping.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my Thursday Facebook Live in the Know. This is a series that we're doing weekly right now. And my assistant Bill is doing Tuesday tips on just different things related to education. I am doing Thursdays usually at 4 p.m. I may alter it depending on guests. Like today, I have a guest for you guys. And so real quick, Helen Panos, Dynamis Learning Academy. For those of you that don't know me, I have a K through 12 tutoring business. We also do SAT, ACT prep, SSAT as well. We're doing a lot of SSAT right now because there's some test dates coming up for that. That's mainly for 8th graders. Also, we are adding in, because we're doing a lot of this, is educational advocacy for parents and parent support to help navigate the school system and your school in particular. Just speaking to a parent about that today. So I wanted to ask Allison Livingston to come on today and talk to you all about how to find ease facing an angry, inflexible child. Welcome, Allison, to the show.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here because I love the work. My daughter got tutoring. It's such an important skill and service.
Yes, and more so today, I think, than before. So I know Allison is going to answer some questions. I'm going to ask her, and because we're trying to limit our time on Facebook Live, it's going to take no more than 3 or 4 minutes per question. So we're going to get started. How do you improve your family dynamics and stop conflict, Allison?
So I just want to say I'm a conflict resolution specialist, a mediator, and also a parent and a parent coach. And I've been doing this for over 17 years and have come across hundreds of parents and educators and kids who are in conflict, and especially strong-willed children, which is what my first daughter was, which is why I know so much about this firsthand, as well as all the education I've gotten. And it is just that two things are happening at once. Two things are true. Yes, the child is acting terribly. They're hitting, they're yelling, they're fighting with their sibling. They are saying, I won't do my homework. You can't make me go to tutoring, all that. And so that's the child. They're dysregulated. And so hey, we need to stop this. Our whole system says this is not okay. They are disobeying our authority, our control, and it just gets worse. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. And so the other thing that's also true is the parent is doing the very best they can. They have a whole list of things they're juggling, and they think it's pretty reasonable to ask their child to go to tutoring for their benefit, or to play nicely with their sister, all the things. And so the parent then gets triggered, and so then they're dysregulated and no one's getting their needs met. And so the system I've developed was a lifesaver for me and my own family, because I did not want to like my child. So I developed this 5 steps to connect, and there is the first step is to stop, because so many of us learned unskillful patterns that, again, pour gasoline on the fire, that make the strong-willed child even more defiant, and they just say, and then you go, oh, yes, you will, and then you're just in a power struggle. And that's no fun for anyone. And it further shames them. And the big motivation I have is that these kids are given so much negative, ashamed, just awful energy. And even though they're not behaving well, it's what's inside that really matters. And they have this vulnerable center, and they have unmet needs. So I teach the parents about how to de-escalate them and de-escalate themselves.
Wow. Yeah. I know a couple people that might need that right now.
I did.
I think maybe a lot more parents than I know of. I'm sorry, the lighting is coming in right now because of the time of day it is, and it's really
you look like a halo. You look like
I know, isn't that funny? And I'm glad you introduced yourself. I apologize for not doing that, but you did a much better job than I could have done. So I know parents are saying, I'm doing all the right things, right? The parenting books recommend these things. They're reading the books. They're getting experts to tell them things. They hear from other parents, this is the book you need to read. And maybe that worked for their child, but why doesn't then the parent might say, why doesn't that work for my child? They're not listening.
Right. So there's different temperaments of children. This is the other big thing I go through with parents. And I had one of each. I had a very strong-willed child, and then I had a very compliant child. And different things work with each of them. And with the strong-willed child, the more I told her what to do, the more I draw a line in the sand, the more I sort of controlled, which was my nature. I like things to go well. I like to manage. I like to be in charge. That worked well in my corporate career. That does not work for relating with my children, because we have to relate from a place of vulnerability and honesty. And if I get out my Tilly the taskmaster, then my daughter would just do this. And so I had to learn this whole other way of relating that actually would work with her. And it was all centered around validating her emotions and seeing what was going on, what was happening, why was she acting out so much. And it was because she wasn't feeling seen, heard, or accepted. Because when she would be sort of a little brat, I would get out my, oh, don't you dare. And that's when the whole power struggle, and she just didn't feel understood. We just missed. We were speaking different languages. And so the biggest thing that I can teach parents is about temperament and about why those things you read in the book, like consequences and being authoritative and all those things, with this particular nature especially, doesn't work. And the other part is that I have a lot of things that my parents didn't accept. And so I have a lot of sort of things that I've repressed. And then when my daughter does it, like I was not allowed to feel angry or disobey. And so then when my child does it, I think I'm protecting her by squashing her. And
Right.
this just recreates the cycle. And again, we don't relate, and she just feels more misunderstood and more missed, and we just, connection is all that we really want, both of us.
Yeah. I'm curious, how are you different? Because I know a lot of parents tend to go to therapists. So how do you, like, is there anything you would say about that versus like you being a
Yeah.
coach? And I know you have, you've done some other background stuff like conflict resolution and
Yes. And nonviolent communication. I am not a therapist. I'm not a trained therapist. And I have friends who are. So if it ever gets to a level of like deep inner workings, that's when I hand it off, because I'm here as your advocate, someone to come alongside you, someone to shine a light and say, why is this not working? Why are we so head to head? And I can help guide you because I've learned so much, and because I had my own personal experience with my strong willed child, for what to do instead, how to unlearn old habits that were pouring gasoline on the fire, and we were both just angry and not getting each other, and what to cultivate so that you can come alongside your child. They feel seen, heard, and accepted, and then they're willing to cooperate because they're amazing and passionate and deep feelers, and they can move mountains when we approach them in a way that they feel we're on their team.
That's great explanation. So how does a parent face an angry, inflexible, disrespectful child without getting triggered themselves? Because I know I hear a lot from teachers that they're being very disrespectful out there right now, right?
Right.
So you figure that's not just probably going on at the school.
Oh no, it's going on all across everywhere. And it's kids being kids, and especially these strong-willed children. So the key is to do two things at once. It is to set a boundary, and to set a boundary from a place of care and embodiment, so that you get on their level, so that you really believe they are good and they have an unmet need. They're like a hurt puppy. They're not someone doing something to me. It's not about my authority. It's not about me at all. It's about their unmet need. So when I can see it that way, I'm less feeling threatened myself. And so I'm less wanting to control and punish and make them behave. And when I can work with my own reaction and notice, oh, if I'm upset, that's a U-turn. I need to be able to just put on my own oxygen mask, take a break, breathe, just go, wow, something's going on for me that I can understand later, and realize this is the moment for my child, that I want to be there for them, that they're hurting. They're a hurt puppy. They're coming at me as a snarling wolf, and that's not about me. So it's depersonalizing it and de-escalating so that I can be curious about what's going on. What's going on? What are they feeling? What's happening in their body? And what are their unmet needs? And when they feel seen, heard, and accepted instead of demonized, like how dare you,
Mm.
their energy responds so differently, which is what they're really yearning for.
Mm. Do you want to give a tip that you used maybe with your daughter to have her be seen and heard and
Yeah.
feeling more comfortable?
Yeah. So it could be around homework. She was just in a just a horrible state. This one time I remember so clearly. She was in second grade and she was so distraught and almost anxious about being able to do it well. And so she just went and she started just screaming and just stomping and that was not a learning moment, right? She was too dysregulated.
Mm.
And so I just got down on her level and I said, "Hey, I know you care about doing a good job. I know you want to impress your teacher. I know that is so important to you. And right now, it's seeming like you're really having a hard time. So what can we do? What would support look like? Would you like to go take a walk? Do you want to do some coloring? What would you like to do? I will come back to this. You'll definitely be able to finish it because I know how important that is to you. But this is not a great time, and I want to figure out what's going to help so that you feel better." And
Mm.
sometimes she can't verbalize. If she's too out there, what she said, she's now 23,
Mm.
and she can tell me what would have helped you even more to say, "Give me time and space, that I'm okay. This isn't a problem. I'm not weird and crazy. Validate me and then give me some space."
Mm.
And that's what we ended up doing. And also some nonverbal touch, because a lot of times she couldn't get real verbal in that moment. She was just too out there, but some nonverbal touch and just, "I'm here. We're going to get through this together. I'm here.
Huh.
I believe you."
Yep. So what was the problem? She wasn't turning in her work or just not doing
She
well on tests or?
she wasn't being able to finish her homework because she would get so anxious and so perfectionist
Mhm.
that she would just fall apart and then get in this state where she just couldn't couldn't do it.
Right. Wow.
And it was hard for her to get back to it.
Yep. I know there's a lot of different situations. Every kid is different. So, folks, I want to invite you. And I'm sorry, the sun I've moved this computer. It just keeps moving around. There. So, I want you invite you to reach out to Allison at www.5stepstoconnect.com. It's right there below the screen. And to get your guide to face an angry, inflexible child in a free coaching session, right? Do you want to elaborate on your guide or anything?
Yeah, and just that so often parents feel inept and hopeless when they have a child like this because there's just so much intensity. And I just want to say you're not alone. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of parents at this point, and it's a temperament that is more common than you'd think. They are some of our greatest world leaders, and you're not doing anything wrong. So I just have a message of hope that there are skill gaps you can learn, there are information gaps that make everything so much easier. And my daughter and I have the most incredible relationship now, and we wouldn't have if I hadn't have gotten the information that I have now. So I want to share it with the whole world.
Yay, awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on and sharing this knowledge with our parents because I know there's a lot of things going on out there today. And a lot of times when you're in the situation, you can't figure out how to resolve the situation, right?
You feel stuck.
So you need to like reach out to somebody else on the outside that can look from outside in and they can clearly see it and resolve
Yeah.
it a lot faster, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's why people go to therapists, why they go to psychologists, why they go to divorce people, right? And try to save marriages. It's kind of the same type of thing, really. And
Yeah.
we have to start doing that with kids.
You can use this information with your partnerships, with your friends, with any time you feel upset and just not feeling understood.
Yeah.
So it's really life-changing work.
Yep. Well, thank you very much, Allison. And I know you are on my podcast. It'll be coming out soon, probably at the end of October, early November. So y'all will catch that podcast that will release on a Tuesday night. And you've got this Facebook Live to reflect back on. It'll be in the feed, so you can catch the replay, those of you that missed it. All right, take care, everybody, and we will see you again. Bill will see you on Tuesday, and I will see you again next Thursday. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
Helen.
You're welcome.